I'ma chill with the Lamar news for now. I'm just gonna wait till Wednesday. I am very concerned about it, especially because Harbaugh let us know last week, like, hey, yeah, I expect Lamar to be out there. And he even said today when he was asked, oh, do you still expect Lamar Jackson to play against the Bears? He said, oh, same answer. So, okay. Even though I still think it's very just weird that he wasn't practicing today, because that kind of lets us know, it's kind of an indication like, oh, maybe that hamstring isn't as good as they thought it was. But again, let's just wait till Wednesday. Hopefully it all ends up being nothing and we see him out there in a couple of days practicing and he's looking like Lamar Jackson and things are great. That's what we're hoping for. So we'll talk about that more then. But in some positive updates from our Baltimore Ravens, in their first practice after the bye week, they got some guys back, and some significant guys at that. Roquan Smith, who's been dealing with a hamstring injury that kept him out the last couple of weeks, Ravens starting inside linebacker, he was practicing today. He said that he's going to play in this game against the Bears. He said it ain't no revenge game or anything like that. He said he ain't worried about that. But he said his focus is on playing the best football that he can play. And I said, Roquan Smith, oh yeah, we want to see you do that too as Ravens fans. So you go for it, my friend. Somebody else who came back was another starter from this Baltimore Ravens defense, that being Chidobe Awuzie. At different times throughout this season, he started at outside corner for the Ravens. He can also play some safety, so he provides them an extra dose of versatility and flexibility. So it was nice that he was practicing too. He also had been dealing with a hamstring injury. I don't know what it is with these Ravens and these hamstrings. I don't know what they be doing or don't be doing in practice. So Ravens, fix that, please. But somebody else who also returned to practice today, and he's been sort of in and out of the lineup dealing with an ankle injury, Ronnie Stanley, Baltimore Ravens starting left tackle. So the Baltimore Ravens getting a lot of starters back in the lineup. But it's nice that he was out there. And we know the Baltimore Ravens offensive line has been struggling bad, all kinds of bad. But Ronnie Stanley is certainly somebody that we want to have healthy out there to protect whoever ends up playing quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens this week against the Chicago Bears. Again, hopefully that is Lamar Jackson. Somebody else who does provide protection for Lamar Jackson, protection for Derrick Henry, protection for the offensive line, Pat Ricard. He was practicing as well. Now, he was practicing a couple of weeks ago too, but they said that his activity today started to get ramped up. So we should expect to see him playing against Chicago, and that'll be a beautiful thing. So it's nice that Baltimore Ravens literally at practice today, they got 4 starters back. So they need all the help that they can get. They need all the positive reinforcements that they can handle, because you're sitting at 1-5. You're 1-5. And hopefully before you hit this 10-day break after the Miami game, you are at 3-5. And while that is not a very beautiful record, it will certainly be a positive start in climbing out of this hole that you dug yourselves into, because you don't want to be on the flip side of that, sitting at 1-7. So our Baltimore Ravens, they are still on the hunt for some pass rush. Let's read the report from Jeff Zrebick. It said, per personnel notice, the Ravens have added wide receiver Colton Dowell to the practice squad. They also had veteran linebackers Jesse Luketa and Carl Lawson in for workouts. Now, I remember Carl Lawson. I remember him when he was with the Bengals, because he was a ball over there for the Bengals. They didn't re-sign him. Then he ended up signing a big free agent deal with the Jets. He played 1 year for them, but then he got hurt. And then after that, I didn't remember what happened to him, so I had to look it up. And I see that he actually played for the Cowboys last year. And he played in 15 games and got 5 sacks. So he has continued to be a consistent producer when he has played. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm not going to be, oh, he's going to come here and just absolutely be a baller, because he still got to play in this Baltimore Ravens scheme. And we know that under this scheme, that pass rush and the pass rushers have been brought down. So we'll see exactly how that goes with whatever they decide to do, if they decide to move forward with him or Luketa or not, or if it's somebody else. Accountability has been a hot topic, especially with the Baltimore Ravens this season, because throughout several different occurrences, we've seen a lack of it. And that was certainly the case last week with Zay Flowers. He had probably one of his worst games as a Baltimore Raven, to where he fumbled not once but twice. And after the game was over, he was nowhere to be found from the media. And that had ruffled a lot of people's feathers. But Zay Flowers, he took some accountability today, and let's hear what he had to say.
Guys, for leaving early, I respect y'all jobs and I respect what y'all do, so it won't happen again. Appreciate y'all. But we good now. I'm ready to go.
So good stuff right there from Zay Flowers, being accountable for his actions. Now, Zay, if you want to take it a step further, all you got to do this weekend against the Bears, for them 2 fumbles that you had last week, just score 2 touchdowns. Might as well, right? Now, we're at my favorite part of these videos where we get to feature your questions. Let's just jump straight into it. First question came from my guy, LaMonte. He said, what's up, team? Keep it clean. Hope all is well with you and your family. I'm rooting for your success and a huge supporter of your work. Proud of all the hard work, brother. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. He said, a question. I love Derrick Henry and the spark he brings with Lamar. However, he does lead the league in fumbles. Not to mention the last one he had against the Rams concerned me as well. Not to put it all on King Henry, but at least 2 of the losses could have been won if the ball was protected. Honestly speaking, as a fan, and in my opinion, and due to the ugly start we've had, I wouldn't be against starting Keaton Mitchell and having Henry as a good second-string running back. Oh, my goodness. Wow. That's something right there. He said, I believe the league has keyed in on Derrick Henry's weakness this season, and that's ball security. And after knowing it and still having issues, I don't at the moment trust him. So how do you feel about the thought of benching Derrick Henry or playing him less? I don't think you should bench Derrick Henry. I think let's see how he does with Lamar being back. Hopefully he's back this week. But when Lamar does come back, let's see how he does. And let's also see how he does with Pat Ricard being in the building as well, because we know we've been missing him badly. We know Derrick Henry has been missing him badly too. Now, I am not against playing Keaton Mitchell a lot more too. So I think you could get the best of both worlds with that. But I wouldn't bench Derrick Henry right now. Next question came from my guy, Demmond. He said, what's good with Jaire Alexander? Is he getting any playing time? Because I was looking forward to seeing him playing in this defense. Whew. Yeah, he has not. Like last week, he didn't play. I don't think he played a single snap last week. He was active. He was dressed. But the Ravens just have simply not been using him at all. Now, granted, their defense, technically, because again, they only gave us 17 points. We know there was some drops. We know Puka Nacua left the game early, but their defense only gave up 17 points, and we have seen it be a lot worse than that. But yeah, maybe they were like, you know what? If it ain't broke, we ain't going to try to fix it. But with this whole Jaire Alexander thing, it's been very, very just weird. Next question came from my guy, Nova. He said the aftermath. Hey, Ingraven over here again with this buy. I had a thought I wanted to share with you and get your take on it. As always, thank you for being a go-to for all things Baltimore and hoping you and your family stay blessed. Appreciate you, Nova. Much love to you, my friend. He said, so these past few weeks without Lamar have shown the world what we as Ravens fans have known for years. Lamar is the engine, not just the offense, but this team. This has also made the discussion of Hards being let go a lot louder, so loud that he has to hear it as he goes into the tunnel after another loss. Of course, many people in the media and fans believe there is still a shot for us to make the playoffs, but my question is, what happens next? Let me explain. So let's run some scenarios. Let's say we finish this season at a number, and the effects I'll lay out. 9-8 and miss the playoffs. 11-6 and miss the wild card. 11-6 and make the wild card, a division win but first round exit. 11-6 and win a playoff game but lose to Buffalo or KC or even a different team. 11-6 and reach the AFC Championship but lose to Buffalo or KC or even a different team. And he said 11-6 and win the Super Bowl. These questions and thoughts go along with each scenario. Do the cries for his job, will they go from loud to deafening? Well, obviously, if they miss the playoffs, yeah. And he also said, does it yield any major changes in the offseason? Does Steve do the unimaginable and let Harbs walk? Well, he would have to actually force him to walk because Harbs is under contract. I still say the same thing. Anything short of a Super Bowl, Harbs got to go. Anything short. AFC Championship, come down to the what? Anything short of a Super Bowl, of winning the Super Bowl, John Harbaugh got to be out of here. Anything short. But anyway, he said, does Harbs throw someone else under the bus and keep his job? Oh, we about to go over that article tomorrow because, yeah, we're going to go over that later. Anyway, he said, does EDC finally put draft capital towards the trenches? Well, that needs to be done regardless. He also said, does Lamar request a trade if not enough is changed? That's one that I'm scared about. I really am, depending on how things go, especially with his cap hit going up to 75 So something got to shake there. So we'll see. And he said, lots to consider on how the season ends. Thanks as always, buddy. And we appreciate the content and family you have helped to facilitate. I appreciate that, Nova. But he also said, a reunion. He said, hey, Ingraven, I'm watching a video about the good news, and I had a thought. You mentioned there isn't anyone that we can get for the interior line, but it made me remember there is someone. But it's a long shot. If I'm EDC, I'm kicking the tires on Kevin Zeitler. He's with the Titans on a 1-year deal, and they are with us at 1-5, but they need draft capital and players to build around. How would you feel about us trading Falele and a 7th rounder for Kevin Zeitler and a 6? I wouldn't be mad at that at all. Not at all. I wouldn't. I don't even think they would trade Falele, but at the same time, Falele is going to be a free agent at the end of this season. So they actually could trade Falele. I don't think they will, though, because they love Falele. They really do. But bringing in Kevin Zeitler, wouldn't be mad at that at all. He said, gives us an upgrade for this season and gives them a Pro Bowler. You ain't had to put that in quotation marks. You ain't had to put Pro Bowler because Falele is technically a Pro Bowler. It's on his resume. But anyway, he said it gives them a Pro Bowler who is young enough to build around. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that at all. Next question came from my guy, Mikey J. He said, suitors for a trade. Is anyone else open to trading Roquan Smith? Oof. Yeah, there was somebody who talked about that a couple videos ago in one of the questions. And I was like, oof, that would be something. He said, I believe Roquan is slowly losing the locker room, and it may be best for us to go separate ways. Oof, you think so? Loud? I will say, I do think all the speeches and all of that stuff, I don't think it's resonating with the players as much as it once may have. Especially if you're giving these speeches, but then after the game, after you lose, you're nowhere to be found. And even when you were healthy. Because, again, they're not allowed to talk to injured players. But even when you're healthy, that speaks volumes. And people notice that. Players see that. Anyway, continuing. He said, it would be amazing if we traded him for Quinnen Williams of the New York Jets or Danielle Hunter of the Houston Texans. Oh, that boy, Danielle Hunter. Oh, that boy just a straight up baller. That'd be nice if we can get both of them. I know that ain't going to happen, but I could dream, right? He said, Miami has some pass rushers as well as in Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb. Oof. I would just hope both of them were like fully healthy, fully recovered from their injuries. But anyway, he said Roquan Smith is only 28, so he's got plenty left in the tank. I don't understand why he's not brought up in trade rumors given our poor defensive play lately. Not suggesting to blow up the whole defense, but our defense looked pretty good last week while Roquan was on the sideline. Roquan is top notch, but sometimes you got to make sacrifices to win. It don't sound like you feel he's top notch if you're willing to get rid of him. He said, sincerely, a struggling Ravens fan. Oh, we all struggling mightily. Next question came from my guy, Sebastian. He said, the bye week is amazing. I just feel so demoralized after that loss. I felt if we could have got a win against the Rams, we would have made it so much easier for the playoff push anyway. Oh yeah. Ravens don't like making stuff easy, though. You know that already. He said, we need to go 11-0 to win the division. I firmly believe that. And winning at all is hard in this game, yet alone 11 wins. I seriously felt if we just played Huntley, we could have seriously won. John said, if Lamar isn't playing against Chicago, it's Cooper Rush. Just shows how stubborn he is. A short one, and the only way to go is 11-0. It starts with 1-0 against Chicago. Yeah, it starts one game at a time. Literally just one game at a time. And we really got to hope these Baltimore Ravens, they bring better than their A game against Chicago. Chicago ain't no pushover, man. The Ravens have been a pushover, so it's time to switch that around. Next questions came from my guy, Martin. He said, normally when asked about injuries, Harbaugh likes to play mind games and give vague timelines. When asked about Lamar after the loss to the Rams, he was real quick to answer him, and Roquan will be back for the Bears. I still don't think Zach Orr is the guy for the job, but I'm always under the philosophy of if you're going to call someone out for doing a bad job, make sure to give them props when they do better. And the defense definitely did better. I feel like that was more on the Rams dropping a bunch of passes and Puka going out early, but the defensive line did great for the most part against the run, besides the touchdown run that they got. Turnovers finally, and got a big fourth down stop. I know they didn't play as well as the score makes it seem, but when the opponents only score 17 and you lose, that's not on them, in my opinion. The Rams, yeah, they certainly did do better overall. They did better. Again, like you mentioned, there was some stuff in there that made it look a little better than it was, but 17 points. Anyway, he said, this Rams game was the worst to me. I was hopeful for a win or that the Rams would blow us out so bad that the Ravens had no choice but to make changes. But unfortunately, I feel though they will spin it in a way to be positive because it's better than how they were playing up to that point. So no meaningful changes will be made. 1-5 is 1-5, and a loss is a loss, whether it's by 40 or by 14. And you're right about that. You're 1,000,000% right. They didn't change anything at all. Now we'll see. Coming out of the bye, especially in the Bears game, if they make any personnel changes, make any changes to people who may be starting or might not be, Time will tell. Anyway, he said, I had a lot of people who don't pay attention to the Ravens. Why I would want a winning coach like John Harbaugh gone, but they don't understand because they don't watch the games. They just see the win column, but the loss to Tennessee in 2019 was all on Harbaugh, in my opinion. Yeah, and it could be tough for people because you have that conversation with most people. You want to get rid of John Harbaugh? He won you guys a Super Bowl. He's such a really good coach. Why would you want to get rid of him? And it's not hard to explain, but people from the outside looking in, they like, what are y'all talking about? Ravens fans, Kyle Hamilton was right. You guys are spoiled. Anyway, he also said, if you swapped Vrabel and Harbaugh, I feel the Ravens would win that game easily. I've also felt there are better coaches out there available. We upgrade every other spot. Why can't we do the same with coach? It's not that Harbaugh is bad. It's that better is available. When Lamar took over for Flacco, even though he was my favorite player, I knew it was time to move on because we had something better in the building. Flacco will never not be one of my favorite players, but I wasn't begging for the Ravens to keep him. Oh, I appreciate that personal example that you gave. And that's a good point. Like, if you know something is better, you can upgrade it. You go for it, especially when it comes to the football team. Anyway, he said, Lou Anarumo is who I want and I think is better than Harbaugh. Vrabel was available and he was better. Mike McDonald should have been the Lamar version of, hey, we got someone better in the building than our current head coach. Let's go with him. He also said, Brian Flores is also a great pick. I like Clint Kubiak as well. Okay, my guy gave a lot of options. I appreciate that because a lot of times when you talk to could be Ravens fans, could be just fans in general. If you talk about, oh, you want to get rid of Harbaugh, they say, all right, then who you going to bring in? Who you want to hire? Who you think is going to replace John Harbaugh? And if you don't have no answer ready, then they be, oh, see, there you go. You're just talking out. And it's like, but anyway, I appreciate that you got a full list of candidates lined up. I'm still saying Steve Spagnuolo. That would be somebody who I would want the Ravens to hire. Brian Flores, I like his vibe. I like how he is very, very straight up. And he will tell you stuff. Even if you don't want to hear it, even if you don't like it, he will let it be known how he is feeling. So I think that's good. And hey, I was going to say something else, but I ain't going to say that. Anyway, Brian Flores, he could be another candidate for some other reasons as well. I think he would be a good fit. I mean, he already knows how to wear purple too, right? So it just makes sense. Next question came from TA804. Boy, I ain't heard from you in a long time. Anyway, he says something that I haven't heard others talking about. He said, what's up, Ingraven? Hope you and your family and the team keep it clean have been well. Oh, yeah, things have been good. Very busy, very crazy, but good. Well, minus the Ravens record. But anyway, he said, there was something that I noticed on Twitter that I haven't seen or hear anyone mention about the CJ Gardner-Johnson situation. I saw Zay Flowers and D-Hop, now deleted, quote retweet in support of him. He was there less than a week and got the love and support of some of the guys. We also saw this with other players when it came to Deontay Johnson. Do you think it possibly sheds light on players not being satisfied with how they are being led or the culture? Ooh, that is such a great question. And that's such a great point. Yes, I forgot about that with Deontay Johnson because he got cut, obviously, but when we played the Texans, all the players like hugging. They were giving him real hugs too, not just a little quick, oh, business, what's up, oh, hey, how you doing, da-da-da. Okay, keep it moving. No, they were embracing him. So that shows like that there was some love there. And with CJ Gardner-Johnson, yeah, I did see the D-Hop tweet. I ain't know that he deleted it. And with Zay Flowers, I saw his too. But that is such a good point. And yeah, we're going to touch more on the culture of this team in tomorrow's video because, yeah, that does shed a light on what's been going on. Next question came from T. Sthillaire, said, what's up, Ingraven? I pray all is well. Hey, I watched the Chiefs versus Lions and the Bengals versus Steelers this past week, and I noticed that the offensive play calling for the Chiefs and Bengals were to dink and dunk down the field by using quick passes, screens, and play action, which made me go back and look at our first drive against the Chiefs. We utilize the same strategy. When we treat Lamar like a system quarterback, the offense is just as dangerous as Lamar when he is improvising. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that first drive against the Chiefs was perfect. It was great. Because they were doing, just like you said, the short passes, the quick passes, and they were moving that ball. They were running the ball. They were doing it. It was working so good, and they moved the ball. Oh, touchdown. Coincidence? I don't think so. And then for the rest of the game, they went completely away from that. They went away from it. It was so weird. Anyway, he said, I don't understand why I should have kept reading. He said, I don't understand why we tend to go away from what makes his job easier, but instead, Monkens and possibly Lamar will try to go for the big play no matter the down and distance. My question is, as much as we point out Harbaugh and Orr's flaws, why have we not highlighted the OC's play calling more? Oh, we have. We certainly have. And that article that we're going to go over tomorrow, that certainly did as well. But we certainly have, because it's a pattern. Todd Monken, a lot of times he tends to go away from stuff. He tends to make things a little more complicated than they need to be. And that's an issue. That's why when people suggest him to be a Baltimore Ravens head coach, I say, I think they should go in another direction. Because if you struggle as a coordinator, especially when it comes to critical downs, critical plays and whatnot, what are you going to do as a head coach? So anyway, he said, should we be open to bringing in a new offensive coordinator if this continues? And if so, who would you prefer? Oh, my goodness. Well, I think that article that we're going to go over, it sounds like the Baltimore Ravens, they may want to consider that based off of what a lot of people in that article were saying. But who would I prefer? Oh, Mike McDaniel.